My first awarded up right out of the gate is for the landscape special effects. People can pick apart CGI all they want, but I was completely immersed into this total chaos from the very start. So I really hope we get more of this level of detail. Same with these animals. Yes, they're all effects, but they really won't let you set a bighorn ram on fire for a TV show these days. Overall, an up for the animal effects and the use of the metaphor that when we say our planet is on fire, we don't just mean the wooden parts. I do have a down in this traffic jam of death. Part of this scene was a bit brutal for my taste. It's only for like half a second, which I can't show on YouTube, but it fit with what was going on and it signaled that this world is very much real and very dangerous. But for me personally, ew, just ew. Speaking of animals, let's go ahead and address the werewolf in the room. Trek culture has their Latinum up for the best thing that happens in an episode. I don't know the werewolf equivalent of Star Trek currency. Silver doesn't seem right. But anyway, the werewolf effects are my up above all other ups for this episode. From the subtlety of how the wounds heal completely to any outside observer, to the wonderful glowing eyes and this dream sequence, I'm just looking forward to more of all of that. And that's all before I mention the Big Daddy werewolf, which is introduced in a very John Landis American Werewolf in London way with this chest bursting scene. Again, something else I can't actually show you on YouTube. I like that they're not keeping the big guy hidden. His agenda is only hinted at here, but we get up close and personal with his final form, and that is worth all the ups. If there's a down for me in the werewolf stuff, I didn't love the effects to show the increasing speed of our young werewolves. 9 seasons of The Flash and other pop culture material kind of exhausted all the ways you can do this, but still, this just didn't work for me. Another big up in the first episode is the casting. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Rodrigo Santoro. He's not as well known to American audiences as he is in his native Brazil and elsewhere down there, but take my word for it. This is a huge win for the casting and a huge win for the audience here because he is fantastic. Also, the young cast is engaging immediately. I like them all. Kudos specifically to Armani Jackson and Bella Shepherd. Their chemistry is instant and believable. Chloe Rose Robinson doesn't have all that much to do in this first episode except play the worried daughter and annoyed sister. But the way she looks in those few scenes, the way she moves through this world as if she's somehow apart from it, alien to it, is visually arresting and very intriguing. Then we come to Harlan, played by Tyler Lawrence Gray. Now, again, we don't actually learn as much about him as we do some of the others, but his is perhaps the most intriguing introduction. And it really left me wanting to see more from this character. Of course, Sarah Michelle Gellar is in this too. She's been the hype point for the network and is by far the biggest named star for American audiences. But here's the thing, she's not in this episode very much due to the nature of how this story unfolds. I mean, yeah, they could have squeezed in a few more scenes, but I actually kind of like only getting a taste and then having her snatched away from us so quickly. I'm very excited to see where her arson investigator will take us in the run of this series. My first awarded up for this episode is right off the top, Blake's Freakout. We just had this amazing moment. 4 people drawn together with their eyes all glowy. For fans of supernatural genre shows, this is a music swells moment of pure excitement. For those actually living through this, not so much.
Wait.
I gotta go.
This is a completely realistic reaction from a real person to freaky stuff, and I'm really glad they took it in this direction. Another up in this scene is the banter between the teens and this ranger or firefighter person that they know, and the driving scene that follows that.
Who are these two? Are they friends of yours?
Yeah, that's Evan. Everett. He's Everett. She's...
Mwah. Chef's kiss on all the dialogue, and a big up from me. And I'll throw in another for the fact that we get to see a lot more of the chemistry between Luna and Harlan in this episode, both in this scene and later while they're arguing over how to proceed with the bitten.
There's a full moon coming. Both of them were bitten on the highway.
Neither of them had a scratch.
Because they healed!
I've never healed like that.
It may seem like I'm just throwing out all kinds of ups here, but another one comes right away, and that's for Kendra.
Do I look angry, upset, enraged, any or all of the above, which I have every right to feel?
Yes, you look angry.
She's an awful parent. Awful! And so much fun to watch. Even in her calmer moments, you can see the rage just below the surface of Lake Kendra. Kudos to and a big up for this group of scenes illustrating Everett's attempts to rest. This isn't part of some supernatural transformation. This is literally just regular day-to-day life for regular people in the 21st century. Okay, now this next bit started out as an up, but then quickly became a major down for me. This sequence in which we see an entire day pass with Blake and Everett unable to get out of bed. That's a full 24 hours from late night, early morning to late night, early morning. Beautifully illustrated. Kendra even says Everett has been out for a whole day.
You barely came out of your room yesterday. Have you been taking your medication?
So why then do Blake and Kristen Ramsey seem to think that whole day never happened?
You're not fast.
I was fast last night.
I was hoping I could ask you some questions about yesterday. You were on the bus, right?
This is a colossal down, not only because it's confusing for the audience, but because these types of things are so easy to fix. It is a simple matter of dialogue and editing. Another down, just get them out of the way now. This helicopter did not land in this forest. The producers go to such great lengths to make something realistic, forcing your actor to suffer smoke inhalation, stumbling around for days in the middle of a forest fire, and then you go and ruin the illusion. That is a big ass down for me. Okay, I'm going to have to calm down and clear my palate from all that. My up above all ups this week. While poor Garrett Briggs is basically cooking in that forest fire, he has a flashback to the day he found the twins in a similar fire. We saw the first part of this last week. It picks up this week with him getting those wolf cubs back home. And then, paw to baby hand. Paw to baby hand. Oh, it's not a big thing. It's so subtle. But man, that was great to see. The cast gets an overall up this week. There's really too many great cast moments to name them all. You've got Nevada Jose, who can deliver a great joke and then turn around and be completely creepy when necessary. Rainer Dawn as the yet unnamed Jim Bro, distracting Harlan. And of course, Sean Philip Glasgow as Connor. He had some truly great moments this week. Another up this week for the mystery caller. He's literally now luring people out into the open. Also, praise again for the big wolf. He's a big, scary, worthy of the name. And my final up for this episode is a bit abstract. The way they depict the werewolf abilities as debilitating. So many genre fans seem to think that transformation and heightened senses is something awesome and fun. But again, Wolfpack is far more centered. Sudden burst of super hearing and then getting all lusty and confused due to a full moon is a miserable way to live. Overall, I enjoyed this episode immensely, right up until the moment the wonky time check reminded me I was watching actors on a screen. I'm giving a major up for this entire opening sequence. It's beautifully conceived and executed. The dialogue here is all explication, but it's rendered naturally and believably in teen speak.
It's a fire line over there that contained that part. You see the stone ridges? That's where they're saying the origin point is.
And there's a sense of genuine menace up here even before our big wolf shows up. There are some minor issues with the CGI lighting, but that could just be my monitor. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't detract because this is just a gorgeous sequence and worthy of a huge up. That's followed by an early down.
We were just here to see the fire.
This cardboard cutout bad cop. Y'all, I'm telling you, it is an overused trope. This is lazy writing shorthand for when you don't want to give your character genuine motivation. You just slap a uniform on them and hope the audience will go, well, you know how those people are. This police bad thing is pervasive in current media, and at this point, it's just boring. So a major down there for me. You know what? I'm going to give this a down for the series to date. I mean, Lanny June's character is literally described as a blunt instrument in the pilot episode.
No talking.
But he's just mean, without any provocation or motivation.
Whispering is talking.
Just a mean guy. And this guy would not be able to survive in any real-world working environment anywhere for very long. Look, I understand there are genuinely mean cops. I've met some, but it's not really interesting to watch without giving even a tiny bit of depth to these characters. Okay, let's clean the palate with an up for the week. The chemistry between the pack of four and the very genuine friendship we see growing between Blake and Everett.
No. Like this.
And up for Armani for another beat-perfect depiction of someone going through an anxiety attack. There's also a sense in this scene of the strong supernatural bond that already exists among these near strangers. And that leads me to my up above all ups this week. The shared hearing thing.
I took an edible.
Did you hear that? Everett, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you too.
So can I. Oh my god. This is fucking amazing.
Now, I initially mistook this for telepathy, and there is some mental component to it, obviously, but they're all sharing Harlan's enhanced hearing. Another up for them actually explaining this point later.
We can all hear each other.
You mean the way Harlan can hear?
It's like we were sharing it.
It's because we're a pack. We're connected.
We're not connected.
I love it when a show manages to naturally work in canonical rules on screen. The way Jeff Davis has set this up, with Harlan and Luna just as confused by what's happening as the newly bitten, It just leaves a lot of room for easy explication. And the relationship between the twins and their dad makes all this explication just flow really naturally.
Are you the one in charge?
Kristen Ramsey, we're very glad you're okay.
You're not talking to my kids without a lawyer present. My lawyer.
Fine. Call him in.
This was a close second for my up above this week. The first meeting between Scully and Smolder. I mean, Kristen Ramsey and Ranger Briggs, of course. It's too short, but the chemistry is there for future close encounters. Also an up for Bailey Stender as Phoebe. I love her in this so much.
Hey, Phoebe, what'd they ask you?
About the fire? You know they think it's one of us.
What'd you tell them?
That I think it was you.
And I mentioned backstory being important to deepen unpleasant characters. In just the few short scenes that have featured Phoebe, we learn exactly why she's a see you next Tuesday. In addition to being privileged and wealthy, this girl's had some recent personal setbacks that will color her outlook.
Hey, Harlan, steal anyone's boyfriend lately?
Just yours.
And it took all of 30 seconds to make her a well-rounded character. So let's talk about the big werewolf. Its presence in episode 3 is a mix of a couple of ups and one slightly annoying down. Up for overall design. We've now had good looks at this creature several times, and I absolutely love it. Right up until its extreme close-up. This scene of breaking and murdering the cardboard cop is an up, suitably scary and gross. This scene is a huge up for me because of the way Armani plays it. I understand the director, producer, and editor wanting to linger on this increasingly terrified face. It might have gone on a trace too long for some viewers, but I was completely there with him. Then we finally get some snout. It starts out fine, but then it just misses and lands in the uncanny valley for me. So for me, that's a down. But it is still menacing, and Armani Jackson is selling this. So again, it's an overall up for me on all the monster stuff this week. And one final emotional up, Ranger Briggs admitting the silver bullets are for his children if they ever lose control.
You made these?
Yes.
To kill werewolves?
To kill us?
Yes.
This is just spot on, perfect performance for all involved. Let's start with an up. Kristen Ramsey gives an update on the wildfire. While the ongoing disaster is less of a direct driver of the action in episodes 3 and 4, the first up here is for keeping the fire as a constant presence, both on our screens and in the minds of all the characters. Another immediate up here for Rio Mangini. I can feel Austin right through the screen, and he is not well. A huge up for revisiting the traffic jam of death from Austin's perspective. Although this scene of the bus driver's demise, I think, was actually longer and clearer in the tease for this episode. Another up in this scene for not forgetting about Connor. We haven't seen him in a while and learned that officially he is missing, but for some reason Austin is convinced he's definitely dead. Kristen Ramsey gets an up for actually listening to what Austin said and then going to the scene of Connor's disappearance. I genuinely love that she is trying to get into his head here and letting the crime scene speak to her. I do have a down for this version of the Ram, but it's canceled out by an up for its autopsy table appearance later. So we just won't talk about how poorly realized Shadow Ram is in this scene. And up for Kristen's Wall of Werewolves. We've known about this since the original teaser, but that doesn't diminish how cool it is that so many people have witnessed this werewolf up close.
Couldn't find anything out there.
Rodrigo will never not get an up. He's perfect as a father who wants to love his children, but is faced with unique challenges.
I don't hate my son.
We get a contrasting scene with the terrifying Kendra Lang.
He screamed for 4 months. Not crying, screaming.
Now, these two juxtapose just how petty she is and how loving Ranger Briggs is. I mean, they're both dealing with special needs kids, but the difference is so striking. So they both get ups for the performance and characterizations, even though one of them is the very definition of narcissistic evil. Okay, let's get the weekly up for pack chemistry out of the way. We'll dive into the new levels of power sharing in canon observation. But here, I want to mention how much I love Blake this week.
You have to remember when I found the two of you, you were both cubs. Wolf cubs. That's how I found them.
So how'd they get like that?
First, she's the GOAT in voicing the audience's curiosity over the twins' backstory.
How many payments did you miss?
Too many.
Also, a long overdue up for the Navarro family dynamic. Everyone else in this show seems to be living that upper middle to upper class lifestyle, so this family is definitely the most relatable to me. Divorced dad let the insurance lapse to pay other bills right before the house gets destroyed by a forest fire. Irresponsible of him? Yes. Absolutely understandable and believable? Also yes. Blake's lack of resources and need to work while also taking care of her brother drives the best scene of the show and provides my up above all ups this week as the big werewolf invades a parking deck. I'm not going to spoil this whole scene. Go back and watch it again because it's just as tense, terrifying, and delightful on second and third viewing. And again, we'll get more on the pack's shared experiences in canon observation. Speaking of the pack, I'm going to throw in a down here that might seem controversial.
Our real father.
I am tired of hearing, "My real father is coming to pick me up." That orphan thing from Harlan. I get it. It's a real thing that happens to rootless kids. But for some reason, it just annoys me that they keep throwing it out there and that it's coming from him, who is this ultimate disaffected teenager. I'll soften that down for Harlan with an up for Luna's reaction to the same thing.
That's not my father.
Then what is it?
It's a killer.
Just as confident as her brother, she knows she didn't come from a monster. Or does she just really want to believe that she doesn't come from a monster? That brings me to my big up this week for Luna's overall journey. Her recovered memory of the horse that her dad bought her and how it met its end are both soul-crushing and satisfying in equal measure. Plus, bloody-faced children will always get an up from me. While Luna looks inward, Harlan is prowling that abandoned firehouse club place from episode 1 where he hooks up with Cyrus. Now, this could have been a down. It's not really an up or a down for me. I just wish they would have given us a little more depth into Harlan's thought process. But then again, maybe that's why he's here, to avoid thinking. I think we can all relate to that. Again, we have a juxtaposition between Harlan's hookup and the Luna and Austin thing. She wears her crush on her sleeve and in her sketchbook. The mixture of sweet and absolute horror in these interactions is just perfect. Big up.
This might be a good time to tell them. Especially since I've got my own box of silver bullets.
I'll tell them when they're less pissed off. You're still the backup plan if something happens to me.
A well-timed up for bringing Prisha into the Kids Are Werewolves super secret club. I'm glad we have more adult-shaped people protecting our pack. And finally, a big up for dragging cardboard bad cop's body up several levels of scaffolding and unceremoniously dumping him. Okay, raise your hand if you were looking for Connor in that pile of bodies.